So, you want to play your C chords, and you want to strum all 6 strings without that happening, and it sounding messy, right? So what you want to do is have your thumb sat on the top and muting it out. But when you do that, suddenly nothing rings out, or it's tougher for other strings to ring out. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. With all open chords, it doesn't matter whether you've got the thumb over the top or down the back of the neck. You need to really curl the tips of your fingers right over. And it's a real unique position, because whenever you hold anything, when we learn as a baby to hold things, and when we hold anything to get a good grip on them, we hold things like this. And how are my fingers now? They're flat, and they're the palm of the hands against the neck. And when people naturally or initially play chords, they naturally want to kind of play them like this. So what we have to encourage, first of all, is typically having the thumb lower and around in the middle of the neck like this. Hopefully you can still see that. And then having those fingers, the tips of the fingers, really curled over, like a claw hand, like you're literally, going "Rrr," kind of like that. You don't have to make that noise though. And what that's going to encourage is bags of space under here, so space for days. Here's something I always used to do with private students. Just take a pen, and if you're playing any chord, you should be able to get a pen underneath the space under the neck here. And what always happens is there's very little space there with beginners, because how we naturally hold things is with flat fingers like this, and they need to be right on the tips at a 90-degree angle to the neck like this, so to the 90-degree angle to there, and we want to be able to get a pen underneath there, and that will guarantee at least that the thinnest couple of strings are ringing out. You need good positioning after that for whatever chord you might be playing, but no matter what chord you play, you need to encourage that first of all. You need to have the ability, I'm just trying to be as clear as possible so we're not open to any misinterpretation here. You need the ability to be able to play chords like this with the thumb at the back of the neck first of all. Once that ability is there, and once that shape of the hands is very natural, and this, if you're working through my course, this could be 1 month or 2 months into your playing. It could be as early as that. Could be a week into your playing if you get it. For others it can take longer, but you need to be able to do this change first with the thumb at the back of the neck. That's also going to really help your bar chords. You guys that are really struggling with bar chords, probably, because you're having to do this, you're having to bar between the thumb and the first finger, this muscle, unless you've been playing open chords with the thumb at the back of the neck like this, that muscle's probably not developed enough. And it doesn't take gym strength, it doesn't take big muscles to do it. It takes the correct training of very small muscles and ligaments and a lot of strength in very small muscles, basically. That's the best way I can put it, the small muscles of the hands. When that's developed, when you're playing any other chord other than the E or the E minor or the G, or if you're playing a G like this, it can become very handy to start to gravitate this thumb over the top to mute string 6 so that you can strum all 6 strings basically, and you can be less accurate with this hand whilst getting a great sound rather than that's a C add 9 but with a normal C chord, thumb at the back of the neck. Okay, there's a real advantage to that. However, that curl of the fingers has to be really trained first of all. And then, as I say, if that muscle is developed as well, your bar chords will improve. And there is this order to things, basically. To give you the next step along as well, because I want to benefit you guys absolutely as much as possible in these live streams. I think it's great that I can just sort of give you this stuff direct. After, you can maybe play bar chords, and after you've really got this curl in your fingers and your open chords are playing great, the next thing that a lot of people really struggle with is doing what I would call it, a mini bar or a barring of just the thinnest two strings, like this. Okay, so just this. This comes into play when you want to do maybe this way of playing an F, which is a full proper F chord if I play every string. But we're only barring the thinnest two strings, and it's handy for that particular chord. It's also handy for that same technique, right? Doing this style of lead guitar, where basically what happens with the first finger is it curls round the back of the neck so we can have this thumb high, and again doing the stuff that we stayed away from in the very early days of learning guitar, in the first few weeks, first few months. We're training this, very much so. After you've got that, and after your chords are sounding great, and you've got that curl happening without an effort on guitar, it's just the way you make chords. Occasionally, depending on the style of guitar you want to be playing, that first finger might want to go really flat, and the thumb might want to come over the top, so that we can do. So we can do Chuck Berry and the Georgia Satellites licks that we learned the other week, and we have Rockin' All Over the World coming in a week or two actually, so a tutorial for that one. That's full of these kind of things. Oh crikey, on acoustic, where would that be? Flat first finger with the thumb over the top. Not all the time. That one wasn't. But to do all that style, 100% like this. Like, it's almost like you're being really lazy, but you can't skip a level and go straight to this without first getting this, because the muscles in the hand will just, they won't be able to go between them. So many of the questions we've had before tonight, so from yesterday that I answered earlier in this live stream, and then a lot of the questions that are coming here, how can I do that next step? You've got to make sure you've done the first 3 steps in the correct order and train them right before you get to step 4, for example. And, in many ways, if we just sort of put it in layman's terms, this, and even this, that's well on step 4. That is improver, even intermediate level stuff to really get it ringing out every time and make it usable. Is it a lot easier than going for a bar chord? Yeah, it's a lot easier to do that, but will you get it ringing out with the thumb like this, and then the other fingers really curling over so that these ring out, and then a first finger flat? You're asking a lot of an untrained hand. You really are, to get that. And what you need to do is, just to reiterate, learn your open chords with the thumb at the back of the neck, like this: E, A, D, C, G, or G like this. Even that G I naturally went over, but you want to be able. You need the ability to do that first before you can start to think, so from a C, if I pull the thumb over the top, because the thing is, my fingers, if you watch my thumb, thumbs over the top, thumbs down low. Fingers ain't any different. Why? Because that training is there. It's not other level training, it's just that having the basics absolutely down so that you can start to break a few rules. So I think that could really transform your playing, but it takes a lot of self-discipline if you've always played like this, like we hold things, to suddenly change to this idea. But it needs to be done, it needs to be drilled, and I would say the best way to start doing that, if that seemed like a bit of a light bulb went off and you were like, oh wow, that's what I'm not doing. Okay, well, hang on 1 second, don't just jump straight to doing that, because it's going to be hard to break those habits. And the best way to break those habits, if you're generally playing chords, like this, and we need to be in this shape, is starting off with I think it's called Best Finger Exercise for Guitar, my video on that, where we just work on playing one finger at a time like this. I've mentioned it a few times in live streams, but if you don't yet have like a finger warm-up, as it were, and you're needing one in your ear to kind of midway through the beginner's course up to the end of the improver course, that works for everyone, because the beginners would be doing it slowly, and the improvers can do it faster or move down a string each time. And all of these essentially, I've done that one in ages. It's a hard one. All those are spider exercises, and they tend to be the best warm-ups for most people, but when you get onto a proper improver level, it can depend what you're specialising in as to exactly what your warm-up should be and what your practice routine should be.